I want to get from this cube, which is a single object, to this same object which has had one mesh added, a cylinder. I've kept the video recording my painful attempts to get the same result, but in a much clunkier way at the end of this sort of short video. Let's begin. I have a cube, it's mirrored, although you can't actually see that right now because it's in object mode, and I've already renamed it car because that's kind of what it represents. I'll toggle over into edit mode, and you can see that I've already set up the mirror, and if I drag out, then dragging that is repeated on the other side. It turned out that the secret sauce was to move the 3D cursor to your required position and then do a shift right mouse, shift right mouse, shift right mouse. Then when you create your additional, or you add your additional mesh, you'll create it at the position of the 3D cursor at the time, and as long as that is away from the pivot point, the center of the mirror, then you're going to be good. It's my theory. I'll say that this is where I've decided I'm going to be creating the center of my wheel. I'm in edit mode. I create a cylinder. That causes a mirror of that cylinder to be created on the other side of the mirror. But importantly, this time they're not merged together in the center. So then I rotate them, first of all the wrong way and then the right way, RY 90, and then I'll scale down the cylinder, so I'm working with the right hand cylinder until it's a kind of sensible wheelie size, and that kind of old-fashioned ice cream cart or chariot is exactly what I'm after. Done. I've been following an excellent modelling demo tutorial by Infincia, so that's just a shout out for that person. So I've got to a certain point, I tried adding on the wheels. This is a mirrored object, and I found I was having big problems with rotating a cylinder. The purpose of the cylinders being to create the wheels for the car. Yeah, normally rotating cylinder, that's fine, but I wondered if there's something funny happening when you're dealing with a mirrored object. So going back to first principles, I've got a cube in object mode. I'll add I'm now in edit mode, so I'm going to add a cylinder, and that'll be part of the same object. Move it out of the way, and that I can rotate without any problem. That is clearly not deformed, it's the plain old cylinder. So that's the vanilla case, and then I can move around the whole thing as a single object, and that's sweet. But now let's hack up a mirrored cube. So now I'm back into edit mode. I'm going to add a cylinder, and I'll drag the cylinder part of the mesh, or the object I should say, down, and when I try and move it, it kind of pulls apart because it's two halves of the same thing. Now I can only create that in kind of one position as far as I can see, maybe not, but yeah, just emphasizing that point. If I try and rotate that, it deforms it like that. So I've deleted the cylinder from the object, so the mirrored cube is back on its own. So the only thing that occurs to me in my noob dilemma is to add a cylinder as object. So created it there again and dragged it down, so the cube now becomes the car and the cylinder will be the wheel. So I can rotate the cylinder, and because it's nothing to do with the cube above it right now, then that's all fine. So I squeeze the cylinder down to a kind of wheel size thing, then move it into position, That'll be good enough. So again, so right now these are two separate objects, but the cube is still mirrored. Let's just make it clear what's getting moved. So I'll call the cube the car, calling the cylinder the wheel, select both of them, and then click the car last, because the wheel will then be subsumed into the car. So now we've got two wheels. Well, we don't really. We've got a wheel that's mirrored on the other side, and that's what I want to achieve. And again, I clearly Inventia wasn't doing that in his video, but it's the only way I can see things to do right now, and as a principle it seems to work.